Imagine if you have the chance to live in a wonderful dream, where you don't have to worry about life, you are provided with everything, where you shop and drink tea and do whatever you want every day. Would you opt to stay in this fantastical world and never wake up? Hi, welcome to Q Recaps. Today I will explain the film Don't Worry Darling from 2022. The story unfolds in the 1950s. Alice and Jack Chambers are a young, happy couple living in an idyllic neighborhood of the company town of Victory. Here it's like paradise, where the community offers free villas and luxury cars. Every person is like a social elite. Every day, the men go to work at Victory headquarters out in the surrounding desert, while their wives stay home. Every morning, the wives see their husbands off to work with smiles and then begin their day. They clean the house, go to the dance studio and have afternoon tea party. The strange thing is that the women are discouraged from asking questions about their husband's work, and are told not to venture out to headquarters due to the dangerous materials the company works with. Until one day, the peace is broken. At Frank's party, in front of everyone, Margaret asks, "Why are we here? We shouldn't stay here." It turns out that Margaret has become an outcast among the other wives after taking her son out into the desert, resulting in her son's apparent death. Margaret claims that Victory took her son from her as punishment, but the others dismiss these claims as trauma-induced paranoia. But Frank shows up just in time and, after an inspiring speech, he alleviates everyone's concerns. The following morning, Alice, as usual, sends her husband off to work. While doing housework, a sudden confusion comes over her. Why are they here, and what exactly is her husband doing at work every day? With a hint of doubt, Alice boards the trolley. While crossing the town, Alice witnesses a red biplane crash somewhere out in the desert. Frantically, she urges the driver to help, but he refuses. In desperation, Alice disembarks and rushes into the desert to help. The road is the only way for the men to work, women are not allowed to come here. Across the dry desert, Alice comes to the top of the mountain. Finding no trace of a plane crash, Alice accidentally stumbles on Victory headquarters, a small building covered in mirror-like windows. The moment her hands touch the window, it feels as if her soul is yanked away, an invisible force sends her plummeting into darkness. When Alice awakes, she finds herself in her bed at home, with Jake busy preparing dinner. In the following days, Alice begins to experience increasingly strange occurrences. While she is cleaning the window, the wall behind her slowly creeps up on her, pressing her between the window and wall. The intense pressure nearly suffocates her, but in an instant, everything returns back to normal. It has been an illusion. At that moment, the phone rings. Alice picks it up. It's Margaret, who hasn't shown up for a long time. Margaret tells Alice to leave the place immediately. Alice is perplexed, and more illusions ensue. While making lunch, she notices something peculiar about the eggs she's holding. As she crushes one, she discovers it's empty. Crushing them all, she finds that every egg is hollow. Inside the dance studio, Alice watches her reflection in the mirror morph into Margaret. In the next instant, Margaret violently bangs her head against a mirror, over and over, as though attempting to break free from an invisible prison. Shaking off the illusion, Alice is left questioning what's happening. Distressed, she rushes back to their neighborhood just in time to see Margaret standing on the roof, gripping a knife. Before Alice can react, Margaret slits her own throat and falls from the roof of her house. The shocking scene leaves Alice in disbelief. But she is forcefully dragged away by strange men in red jumpsuits before she can reach Margaret's lifeless body. That night, Alice tells her husband about the unbelievable events of the day, worried that Margaret might have met a terrible fate. Her husband tries to console her, attributing the illusions to fatigue. As for Margaret, he clarifies that she merely had an accident while cleaning the windows and is currently safe, recuperating in the hospital with her husband, who has been compelled to leave the Victory Project to look after her. Despite this, Alice remains doubtful and promptly interrogates her husband about his work. Jack insists that the information is classified and cannot be revealed. Late into the night, Alice stares at the television, deep in thought, as she begins to doubt everything around her. The next day, after sending her husband off, Alice goes to the kitchen and conducts an experiment. She wraps her head in plastic wrap, and soon a powerful sensation of suffocation overwhelms her, with the fear of death enveloping her entire body. At the critical moment, Alice rips off the plastic wrap, convinced that the world is real. Yet, she cannot dismiss the nagging sensation that something about her surroundings seems unreal. Jack brings in the community's doctor. While they converse, Alice catches a glimpse of the doctor's file on Margaret. When the doctor departs, he accidentally leaves his briefcase behind, and Alice takes the chance to look through its contents. However, the file contains only one sentence: Margaret refuses treatment, and the community has issued a warning to her. The puzzling case sends Alice into a state of distress. Could she be the one who's truly sick? As time goes on, life returns to its usual calm, but Alice still harbors lingering doubts. During a special victory event, everyone seems exceptionally excited, but Alice feels as if they're all putting on an act. On stage, Frank announces that Alice's husband is the Employee of the Year, and people cheer and clap in celebration. As increasingly vivid memories resurface in Alice's mind, she suffers a breakdown. She escapes to the bathroom where Bunny comes to comfort her. Alice tries to explain everything to her, but Bunny reacts angrily, accusing Alice of selfishness and attempting to ruin everything for everyone. Bunny even remarks that Alice sounds just like Margaret. After the celebrations, Frank brings the neighbors to Alice's home. As dinner preparations are underway, Alice is in the kitchen when Frank enters quietly. He candidly reveals that he founded the community and acknowledges that what Alice witnessed was not an illusion. He appreciates her courage to challenge his authority and encourages her to continue seeking the truth as her true self. This confession reignites Alice's resolve. During dinner, Alice queries all the couples about where and how they met, only to find that each couple has an identical story. She questions why they all follow the same daily routines and wonders about the men's work. Her flurry of inquiries leaves everyone shocked and speechless, their smiles frozen. Jake attempts to step in, but Frank stops him, calmly attributing everything to Alice's mental delusions. The neighbors think Alice is making a fuss, and the gathering ends on a bitter note. Once everyone departs, Alice pleads with her husband to take her away from this place, as the illusions are driving her insane. Moved by her desperate entreaty, Jake consents. However, as they get ready to leave in their car, Jake apologizes for a sudden. Right after, the men in red reappear, and they drag Alice away, leaving Jake alone in the car, overwhelmed with anguish. Dr. Collins forces Alice to undergo electroshock therapy. During the procedure, Alice experiences visions of herself in another life, as a present-day surgeon named Alice Warren, who lives with the jobless Jack and grapples with making ends meet. A few days later, Alice recovers and returns home as though nothing ever happened and reunites with Jack and with Bunny. She resumes her daily routine of cleaning, organizing the house, dancing, and cooking dinner for her husband. Alice is immersed in the happiness of her life until a familiar tune shatters the peace. The well-known melody stirs Alice's fragmented memories, and she suddenly remembers everything that transpired. As it turns out, Alice is a night shift doctor, and Jake is a down-on-his-luck programmer. They live a modest life under constant pressure. One day, Jake learns online about Victory, a simulated world created by Frank. By wearing a device, people can enter this virtual realm with their minds and live there. So, he covertly purchases 2 sets of equipment. Jack has kidnapped her and forced her into the simulation in the hope they can lead a perfect life together. Each day, Jake returns to the real world to work, using his income to sustain their virtual existence. The various illusions Alice encounters in the virtual world are probably just glitches in the program. The pain of her memories leaves Alice gasping for air as she argues with Jake. However, Jake doesn't believe he is in the wrong. He thinks Alice's real life is miserable and unhappy, while he provides her with a more prosperous life in the simulation, making many sacrifices. Alice is furious that Jack strips her of her autonomy. Jack hugs Alice, begging her to forgive him, but begins to crush her, making it difficult for her to breathe. Desperate to break free, Alice grabs a wine glass and smashes it over his head, unintentionally killing Jake. Bunny, who arrives on the scene, is stunned by what she sees. Alice tells her the truth about everything, but Bunny confesses that she has always known the truth. She chooses to remain in the virtual world because she lost her child in reality, and in the simulation, she can be with her child. Bunny's revelation causes Alice to completely break down. Afterward, Bunny insists that Alice leave immediately. She advises Alice to head to Victory headquarters, which functions as an exit portal from the simulation. Alice will soon be pursued because the virtual and real worlds are interconnected, meaning Alice has also killed the real world Jake. Frank will be coming after her before long. As Alice steps out of the house, the neighbors watch in horror. The other wives gradually start to comprehend the truth as their husbands begin to panic. When Bill tries to attack Alice, he is held back by Bunny. At that moment, the men in red jumpsuits reappear and rush to apprehend Alice. She steals Jack's car and drives toward Victory headquarters, with Dr. Collins and Frank's men in pursuit. Alice reaches a desert area, where she manages to trick Dr. Collins into causing a car crash that kills him and several others. As Alice successfully reaches the mountainside, her car unexpectedly breaks down. With no other option, she runs barefoot toward the mountaintop, the men in red quickly following behind. When she reaches the circular building, Jake suddenly appears and embraces her. Despite this, she knows it is all an illusion. Determined, She presses her hands against the mirror-like surface, and in an instant, her memories restore, bringing Alice back to the real world. The film's conclusion doesn't explore Alice's fate after her return to reality, but it's reasonable to assume that she needed to evade capture and save the other women. In fact, these women may be in even direr circumstances than Alice. When Jake sent her into the virtual world, the system stressed that they were a real-life married couple, indicating that even those not married in reality can enter the simulation. It's possible that numerous couples within the community are actually strangers in the real world, with the men potentially imprisoning the women through illicit means and forcing them into the virtual realm. In the end, the destiny of Victory's founder, Frank, is captivating. As Alice escapes, Frank sees himself as the predator behind the prey, but his wife seizes the opportunity amidst the chaos to stab him to death, leaving behind the words, "You foolish man, now it's my turn." This suggests that she will succeed him as the next major antagonist. Perhaps this is the collective uprising of the women trapped in the virtual world. Love isn't about enforcing one's own convictions or presuming that offering what one believes is the right life equates to an act of love. This is simply wishful thinking. True love involves mutual understanding and meeting each other's needs. Depriving someone of their treasured life in the name of love is nothing more than selfishly appeasing one's desire for control. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.